Welcome to Facts, Figures, and Fallacies from the Frontline podcast with Mitzi E. Sullivan, CPA.
Hi, welcome to another episode of our podcast. Today, we're talking about how to take your business to the next level through managed accounting services. And today, Jessica is going to start us off and explain the benefits to having managed accounting services.
All right, thanks, Nick. So we're just going to start with what is managed accounting services. So unless you are an accountant, like that term may be pretty vague. So I can start by just saying managed accounting services is typically when you outsource all the accounting aspects of your business to a firm. So for instance, we do payroll, we do bookkeeping, we do every aspect of accounting that your business could possibly need. And so managed accounting services can include payroll, bookkeeping, anywhere from like huge business, small business, anything like that. So one of the benefits of picking managed accounting services is that you have an access to a professional CPA who's been doing this all day, every day. And as a small business, you may not know exactly how many hours that you need an accountant, so you may not want to hire someone full-time because you don't know, do you need someone full-time? Do you need someone 5 hours a week? How much experience do they need? You don't know what level of experience you need for a small business. Same with if you have a huge business, you don't know, do I need 5 accountants? Do I need 1 accountant? Do they need to be a CPA? Do I still need to outsource? So that question kind of gets resolved whenever you outsource because you have anywhere from tax, Nick helps out with tax. Mm-hmm. I do a lot of the managed accounting services.
As a small business owner, hi, I'm Marie Rieger. I utilize these services. As a business owner, there's a liability, which is giving one of your employees access to your books and your bank account. Yep. Correct. We've all heard those horror stories, unfortunately, Mitzi, where a business partner has stolen money or you gave so-and-so, access to the books, and this helps with that liability, right?
Right.
And
yeah. So like Marie was saying, when you give it over to just one person, say you decide you only need 1 accountant who doesn't necessarily know accounting, or they do, and they find themselves with complete control of every financial aspect of your business, and you trust them completely, they're the ones you go to, and unfortunately, that leads to temptation sometimes, and
this is a good way to help put in place some of those internal controls, like separation of duty, for example. Mm-hmm. And especially with smaller businesses, that can be very difficult and nearly impossible if you're a very, very small business and you only have 1 employee that is helping with your bookkeeping and payroll and all those things. And so being able to outsource it to a firm really does help with that aspect of kind of protecting yourself.
Mm-hmm. And it's expensive, right, Jessica?
Yeah.
So hiring.
Right. Yeah. So if you hire 1 person or 5 people, you don't know how much your firm needs, and an accounting firm can absorb any amount of business that you have. If you have $5,000 a month versus if you have $5 million a month, an accounting firm can outsource to their people within the firm, and you don't have to worry about growing being too expensive or having to train someone in-house. So, one of the things is reduce business costs and also just improve productivity, because you're not spending this time trying to learn how to be an accountant when you're trying to start a business doing something else. Let us be the accountants, or let your CPA be the accountant. And you can just do what you're good at while we do what we're good at. We look at this stuff all day, every day. And say you have a weird situation that came up. You don't know, is this going to kill me in taxes? Is it going to help me? You have no idea. And so by outsourcing, even though you may be paying a monthly, yearly fee, whatever you're paying, that may save you in the end, because you have someone to reach out to. That's a huge thing. Like Marie was saying, you have someone that you can say, hey, I'm thinking about this huge purchase, or I'm thinking about this huge sale. I want a new truck, but I don't know what to do next. And so we're just someone that's always looking at your books, and we just kind of are familiar with your situation, so you can reach out to us and say, hey, I'm thinking about this, and we can tell you, well, that's a terrible idea, or no, that's a great idea, you're on the right track. So it's just I don't know, a weight lifted off your shoulders.
Right. Well, and one thing I see a lot of on the tax side is that if a client for their business is using managed accounting services, and especially if it's being done through our firm, we have access to the books and their business's financial information throughout the year. And so it allows us to do a more accurate job when it comes to tax planning. Whereas if someone doesn't use managed accounting services and they're keeping up with all of that information in the business, sometimes the information isn't accurate. And so therefore we can't do as great of a job tax planning because maybe they're not recording something correctly.
Correct. I don't know how many times I've heard our books are a mess. I don't even know
Right.
where to start or how to clean them up. I got to go clean the books. And since I've been utilizing your services, people will ask for a P&L, and I know I can have it in 5 minutes. I don't have to go clean the books before I submit it. It's done. It's ready. So as a business owner, it helps be responsible. And
Right.
it's, that information is important, and to know that it's accurate and ready when I need it is such a, like you said, a weight off my shoulders to know that it's done correctly and balanced.
So that's one service that we love to provide is the monthly and quarterly financial statement preparations. Because that way, when I look at every single client's monthly and quarterly financial statements every month, every quarter, and if I see, their net income is, $1.5 million and it's only June, I'll reach out to Nick and say, hey, what are they doing? They've got too much income. What do they have planned, or do we need to pay in some more money? It's very helpful if you're on top of that every single month, every single quarter. And like Marie said, when, we do personal financial statements as well. And if you're leveraging to grow your business, your bank is going to want monthly, quarterly financials. And when you have them ready to go and they're reliable, the banks really, it just makes the whole process so much easier.
And taxes as well.
Right.
I mean, I'm moving to now you're going to handle our taxes, but we had a tax team. And for me to just say, okay, my team is suggesting, are they requesting this? And for me to send it over, you send it over, and it's done. And
Right.
I wouldn't have been able to do it correctly without you.
Yeah, so like to Marie's point, like just giving a P&L or a profit and loss balance sheet, the banks request that if you're trying to get like a business loan, or if you're trying to finance equipment, like they're typically are like, okay, up to your last quarter, give us financials. And most people are like, I don't have that. So when you do something throughout the year, like you can have confidence in it, like you said. And also, like, we get clients all the time, like, tax season, and they're like, hey, I've been keeping my books all year, but, could you, like, look at it to make sure they're okay? And 9 times out of 10, they feel like it is okay, but you go through and you find that either revenue's been double counted, expenses have been double counted, interest hasn't been recorded on notice payable, like all those things that you wouldn't think to do or you have no idea are missing. Like, we can go and we see that, like, within 5 minutes, I can tell you, yeah, we need to clean all this up because, like, it obviously hasn't been reconciled correctly, which, that is obviously a decision of your business if you want to reconcile throughout the year. And then just have someone look at it once a year.
Right. Well, one thing that I see from time to time with clients is that they don't use a professional for managed accounting services. And then when tax season rolls around, we realize that their books are a mess and they need to be cleaned up. And it ends up really being more expensive and more time consuming to clean them up rather than having just, paid someone throughout the year to keep them up to date. And like Jessica mentioned, a big thing that we see is with revenue. A lot of times if you're not a professional and for clients that use a QuickBooks or some sort of accounting software, they might be double counting revenue without realizing it. And so that's a big one that we have to help clients clean up if they don't have managed accounting services.
Right.
So we don't want our clients to come
Bosses.
in and just with their garbage bag full of stuff, and they have no idea, do I have income? Do I have a loss? I have no idea what I owe on taxes. We would never want our clients to be in that position, and you should never be in that position. When you come in to get your your taxes done. If you're a monthly or quarterly client of ours, you know where you're at, and you should have your ES payments paid in timely, so no penalties, no interest, save money on things like that. And when we do your books quarterly and monthly, we can make sure they're accurate and you know where you stand. And so this is September, and coming up on December, if we say, well, you've got $2 million worth of profit, then, well, I need to go buy another, $1 million pump or piece of equipment, and then that's going to get my net income down. So we don't ever want you to be surprised at tax time, and we certainly don't want to be surprised.
Yeah, or your company not be in good standing.
Right.
And it's just it's so easy for that to happen, like a simple franchise tax.
Right.
But to know that you help keep the business in good standing, and you can always submit whatever and not be caught off guard. Like, oh, we owe this, but
Right.
I just like to say our business is in good standing. It just feels
Yes.
good to say that.
Or when you go to open up a bank account and they say, well, you've been out of standing for 5 years.
Yeah.
So Jessica can tell us a little bit about that service that we provide, and it's a company book maintenance.
Yeah, so one of the things that you wouldn't think to do is, for instance, when you form an LLC, you need to have, all your Secretary of State documents, all your operating agreement, all these things that won't necessarily be required when you get the LLC, but it's going to catch you when you go to open a bank account, or in 5 years whenever you're trying to get a loan and the bank is asking for your operating agreement to make sure you're in compliance with your own company's rules, and you realize you never even created one, or it is super out of date and you're about to go against your own company's rules, and that does hurt your liability protection. So whenever we do company book maintenance is what we call it, I go through and I check your operating agreement. Make sure you have minutes to record any partners leaving, any partners coming in, anything like that will protect your liability. That's just reviewed annually, so that you're never going to be in that position where you're like, oh my gosh, do I have everything I need? Because you don't think about that. Those are one of those things that doesn't hurt you until it does. You have no idea it's hurting you all this time, and then you're caught off guard and you're in a scramble. And so, that's just one of the things we just try to keep it so that any of those situations that come up, you're already prepared for it. You've been prepared for it the whole time, and you don't have to worry about it anymore. But going back to kind of what Mitzi said about ES payments, so those are quarterly paid in taxes. So that is another thing that we do is, when you have a quarter of income and you aren't planning on paying in taxes until when they're actually due, we recommend that you do ES payments, which is estimated tax payments. And so when you pay that in when it's due, on the quarter, that's better for you actually, because if you don't pay it, and correct me if I'm wrong, but that will accrue over time up until you actually do make the payment.
Right. So the IRS wants your tax payments in throughout the year as you earn the income, rather than waiting until you file the tax return and paying on the tax return date. Because if you wait and you owe all these taxes and you have to make a payment with your tax return, you'll have to pay interest that's accrued on that outstanding tax balance, since you did not pay it in evenly throughout the year.
Yeah.
And related penalty also.
Yeah. And didn't they just hire a couple more agents?
85,000.
87,000 new
87.
agents.
Yes. So what do you think that means for you and businesses, and what's your opinion on that?
Well, I think that it really should just encourage you as a business owner to make sure that you set up managed accounting services and make sure that you're in compliance. Because, as long as you are reporting correct information, you really have nothing to worry about. But if you are trying to, do things yourself and you're unorganized, then there is a chance that maybe you're reporting something incorrectly.
Yeah.
And so having
it's going to
managed
cost you money.
Exactly. And
Or
so,
could.
Having managed accounting services really will help save you a lot of money and heartache in the long run.
Yeah, so I think mostly with the new agents, the IRS will go for the low-hanging fruit. They're just trying to increase revenue. We're obviously, in a bind economically, and they want to do more revenue collection. And the easiest place to get that revenue is the middle class taxpayers and primarily the mom and pops and the small businesses. So you don't want to be intimidated by that. You don't want to be less aggressive because of that. You just want to be more thorough, and you want to make sure you've got good records. Audits can be very intimidating, and they can be incredibly expensive and time consuming. So you want your ducks in a row all the time. So if you get a line item audit or you get a full audit, you're ready to go. And then that way you can continue to be aggressive. You can continue to save money on your taxes and not be intimidated by that.
I used to be scared every time I got a letter from the IRS in the mail. And now I just open it and think, oh, well, just take it to your office.
That's right. That's
It's
what we
fine.
do.
It's all taken care of.
Yeah, so absolutely, like when you outsource to any firm, I mean, it really does encourage growth because you don't have to worry about, oh my gosh, is this purchase going to flag the IRS? Is me increasing revenue going to flag the IRS? You don't have to worry about growing or about staying the same or about decreasing because, I mean, we've got you taken care of. So thank you to Marie, Mitzi, and Nick for helping me out with this podcast. And I think that wraps it up for today. And any situation that you have, obviously, like consult your CPA, whether it be us or someone else. Always, your situation is always unique. So you need to make sure that you're getting the best help for your own needs. So
Thank you for tuning in to today's episode. Make sure you follow us on Facebook, LinkedIn, and Twitter at the links below. Also, sign up for our weekly newsletter to make sure that you stay up to date with the changing tax laws and regulations. Leave a comment if you have any questions about today's topic. We'll see you next time.